tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So gear up your ride and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Hagerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, offer less than a set of race tires. Hagerty, let's drive together.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, where, as you can see, we've got single-seaters coming up next, and it's the F4 Championship, live from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And they are trying to keep the drivers cool and the engines cool, but it's not an easy feat in this kind of weather. And we've got plenty to talk about. I've got an expert driver who's going to be an FR alongside me to take us through it as well. But don't forget, more to come. And one, before we get underway, let's turn now to some of the stories that go on in our paddock. And these are stories from the paddock, and this one is about Andrea Robinson. She's done a lot. She's done to Le Mans. She's been part of SVRA for many years and has an interesting motor racing story. Here is Andrea Robinson.
Some of the guys I've driven with in the series and ALMS have just come up to me. I've had some pretty big bear hugs. So it was hilarious. So he was standing there in pit lane when I was called in. So I get out of the car and he's standing there and he's, happy anniversary. Well, thank you. When we got up to the podium and we saw how many throngs of the people, we were just shocked, and we stood up there and people were shouting our name and we're waving and we're like, oh my God, this can't be real. This just can't be real. It's top notch. It's really top notch. And again, some of the guys I've driven with in the series and ALMS have just come up to me. I've had some pretty big bear hugs. Well, you know what? I'm going to do my best. I finish my race, I'll be happy. can do it. Don't be afraid. If you've got an iron soul and you've got the determination and the bravado, you too can do this. I think so. I hope so.
Great story of Andrea Robertson. Just one in the first of our series of stories from the paddock, and we'll be doing more and more of those as the season continues. Just getting you up to speed on some of the guys and some of the girls that are involved in SVRA, Trans Am, you name it, single-seaters. And each and every other week we'll try to keep you informed. But let's get back to the action at hand, because we are getting ready to go F4 racing, and alongside me is a current FR racer, Jett Bowling from Dallas, Texas, and delighted to have him. He's thankfully somebody I know, because we spent, well, almost 6 weeks together down in New Zealand doing the FR Championship down there earlier this year, but now has come back to the States to take on the FR Championship in the winningest team in the championship, and that is this team, Kiwi Motorsport, as we take a look at the championship leader and the man who is absolutely making a name for himself, Nicolas Stati. Now, Jett, you this is somewhat kismet, because this is actually a year ago today where you started your F4 career, right?
Yeah. First of all, Jonathan, it's a pleasure to be here. First time in the booth, so that's really cool. But yeah, a year ago today, it was my first time racing the old version of the F4 car, and yeah, I remember everybody telling me Mid-Ohio is the worst track in the U.S. in the rain, and it of course happened to be raining in that first run. So, you know, I was a little bit terrified, but we got through it.
Was it a baptism of fire, or did you get your hang of it, Rob? You're
yeah.
still here, so that bodes
right.
well.
Yeah, I got the hang of it. You know, I remember Gil, the team owner, kept on telling me it's a battle of attrition. Just stay on track and you'll gain places. And I ended up getting about 5 places, so it's good.
Go. Yeah, like you say, the new car that is on form, and another guy we're very familiar with. You raced against this guy, Alex Crosbie, another Kiwi Motorsport guy, but he is from New Zealand. A multiple Formula 4 champion, I may add, and the next in a line of, well, I don't know where the talent, what they're feeding them down there, but we seem to have a plethora of great talent, from Van Gisbergen to Scott McLaughlin, and here we've got Alex Crosbie, who is following in the footsteps of, well, Scott Dixon actually is the last kind of great Formula 4 guy that I can remember from New Zealand, but of course also paving the way here and racing this weekend at Laguna Seca. But yeah, this is the new car, the Halo, and the new F4 car, but you drove the old one. The interesting part, because I know your background, so let's tell everybody, you've not raced that long. I mean, most of the guys you race up against have kind of been in karts since they were 4 or 5, but you came to this late, right?
Yeah, so it's a bit intimidating. Like
yeah,
you said, last year it was my first race in the F4 car, and I was only 17 years old. So, yeah, I started go-karting when I was about 15, and then I was go-karting against kids who had been go-karting for 10 years, and now I'm racing against kids who've been racing for about 4 years. So, you know, kind of on the back step, but, you know, we take the challenges as they come.
Was there a moment, like you say, when you make a transition? I know you used to play baseball and other sports, but was there a moment where you went, yeah, this is for me, I want to do this? Was it one particular race, or does it just kind of come gradually?
Yeah, so to be honest, go-karting, I was mediocre at best at it, you know. I was pretty good. I picked it up quick, similar to how I did cars, and I got into a karting accident, cracked a rib, and, you know, just got out of the go-kart for about 4 months just to rehab it. And, you know, at that point, I'd only been karting for about a year and a half. And
did it scare you?
No, I wasn't. It was pretty, you know, simple crash. It just kind of got me in the wrong spot. And, yeah, I wasn't, you know, too good at go-karting, so I thought, you know what, I did my racing bit, you know, focus on baseball, but then my dad I think he wanted me to race at that point more than I did, so he kind of threw me back into a car with Kiwi Motorsport, and I fell in love with it. I mean, just being in a car, feeling the power, even though an F4 car is not all that powerful, it just felt like an F1 car to me.
Well, Jett, I'm sure there's a lot of young girls and guys out there who are interested in getting involved in this type of racing. And as you say, karting is one thing. Karting, it's a one-man game in terms of once you put the helmet on, you're on your own. You just get on with it, and you make mistakes, and you either take the guy out in front of you or either which way. But at the end of the day, it's all your work. This is different. This is the first time you suddenly get to work with a team. And unlike other sports, this is so different. The team is about you and you achieving what you're trying to do. The whole team is trying to be first, and you've just got to be part of it.
Yeah, you know, I was a pitcher when I played baseball, so I'm kind of used to it. I'm kind of used to being the prima donna of the team. Yeah. Everything revolves around me.
You say that, I know what you mean, but that also involves responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a bit, as I said, it's a bit intense. You know, you're working with all these guys, especially for a newcomer who have been doing this for so many years. But, it's kind of, I love that team feeling, whereas in go-karting, you strap in and, as you said, you're the only one there. But in a car, you've got a crew of at least five guys, all doing their every bit to make you faster.
Well, as you can see, small grid led by Nicolas Stati of Crosslink Kiwi Motorsports, same team as Jett Bowling. But that doesn't matter that it's a small field, it's a competitive field. And actually, in terms of learning, Scott Goodyear, who is the race director here, getting them lining up before the carousel 2x2, would say this is the best learning place. It's a small field like this, and rolling start, great opportunity because they'll be used to rolling starts from karting as well. Keep an eye on that number 15 as crosses the line, and a good clean start as away they go. A 30-minute race as they dive through turn one. Everybody cleanly through that and down towards the keyhole for the first time, and it is the 24 who leads of Daniel Quimby. So Quimby getting away from Nicolas Stati at the start of this one, and Pablo Benites Jr. in third position. Then Crosbie's lost some places. He's down in fourth. Connor Roberts has had a good last time out at Road America. That's all they've raced so far is Road America. 3 rounds there, but already positions changing as Stati. Nicolas coming back immediately. Good clean start, and Jett, boy, wouldn't want to be in the middle of that. You don't know who's going to get lead into the next corner, do you?
Yeah, no, it's pretty hard track to get a clean start at, so that's obviously good to see. And you can tell already that the drag on these cars is intense. As you saw, Stati got the pass done down the back straight.
Yeah, did a really good job. That is the obvious place to overtake. Those things will settle down now, we hope anyway, but it may not. But from high above on the drone, we get to see them coming through Thunderhill and down back towards the carousel again. And already the leaders starting to pull away at the front, but that's expected. This is the first of our 3 races in F4 this weekend. We've also got the junior F4s in action, and that involves the older cars and probably a little less experience amongst them. Now, a lot of talk going on down here in the pits as Stati's team, I think it is, watching on. Is that Stati's team? Benites moving now to second place. Quimby drops to third. So all sorts of shenanigans going on as we take a look at Connor Roberts. Who, if any of these, do you know well?
Yeah, I'm a big friend of Barrett Wolfe.
Okay.
And obviously Alex Crosbie, we raced each other just a couple months ago.
That's right, yeah. Crosby. Yeah, it's been a bit of a baptism of fire for Crosbie. He'd raced his whole life in New Zealand, so this is like Callum Hedge and a few others that have come over back in the day. Ryan Yardley, who I know is a good friend of yours and mine, came over with Crosslink and now racing in Porsche North America. Got a win this weekend and a third. So the story continues for the Kiwis here in the USA. But Stati now starting to build on his lead, and there must be a time, when you that first few laps must be just adrenaline junkie stuff, where you don't know who's coming from what angle, and then suddenly everything clears and you settle down, you go, okay. Do you like to have an engineer talk to you, or do you just get on with it?
Yeah, no, I like to be on my own for the first 3 or 4 laps. It's good to know lap times, but besides that, it's let me get my head down and just...
Well, what information do you want to know?
Throughout the race, it's good to know, lap times. My big thing is don't give me the lap times of the person behind me. As much as I care, they don't matter. So give me the lap times of the guy in front, and then, a big thing for me is time lost in the leaders. especially if you fall back at the start, which tends to happen to some people. So just time lost and the lap time of the guy in front, and just know you're faster.
Now, this is effectively a step down from the Formula Regional. And yes, the cars do look very similar because now they've got the halo as well. So they're just a little bit less powered than the FR cars that Jett currently drives. Big difference or not for you going up?
Yeah, no, for me there was a pretty big difference. Driving, these cars are a little bit aero dependent with the wings, but the FR cars are a whole other level. The FR car aero kicks in at about 80 kilometers an hour, where these probably kick in at a much higher speed. So, just being able to send it on the brakes and the cars stick, it's a very weird feeling, and it's a whole nother level of trust you have to have with yourself and the car.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I wonder whether, you karting, I've done karting, we've all done it, and it really is just you in the front, and the fast pedal, and you hardly ever use the brake in karting, to be fair. Whereas this, when the aero kicks in and there is aero to be dealt with as both a disadvantage and advantage, is it hard to learn where you're in the best place on the track?
Yeah, it's a bit hard. The aero balance is something that, some mechanics don't even understand. It's just such a, wild equation that you have to go through, and then, there's a change of whenever I'm driving, I'm thinking, is the car in aero? Like, do I need to change the grip for mechanically or aero? And it's a whole other level in the mind of the driver, and then, of course, an engineer.
Well, the beauty of this, like I said, they've only raced at Road America one time out. They had 3 rounds there, 3 different winners. Stati won the first race, round 1. Then round 2 went to Daniel Quimby, and it was Pablo Benites Jr. for Scudare Buell who took the 3rd victory in round 3. So we'll either have a new victory today or somebody with a second-time win. But Stati leads the championship at the moment on 55 points, 4 points ahead of Connor Roberts. Quimby currently 3rd, and he's equal with Benites Jr. So both these guys in 3rd position, equal now. We'll all be looking for good points out of this one, and they've got a good chance. Roberts there in 5th place, just behind Crosbie at the moment, at the top 3, and starting to build on that. Stati, Benites Jr. and Quimby. Do you like the Mid-Ohio circuit? It doesn't look like there's a lot of places to overtake, and really only one fast line through there.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to overtake here. It's a bit like the tracks in New Zealand. You don't see too many straights into a big braking zone besides turn 2, but turn 2 is predecessed by the fast left-hander of turn 1, and especially in our downforce Formula Regional cars, it's hard to follow through there. So it's pretty hard to overtake. That's where qualifying is such a big thing at some tracks, and I think here qualifying is, a lot of the race.
Would you prefer to lead or be in 2nd place at this point in the race? Because I always think that if you've got a chance to follow somebody, I wouldn't say it's easier. You've got less pressure on you, right?
Yeah, but as a racing driver, you always want a clear view in front of you.
Yeah.
I think you can definitely say that Stati's heart rate is probably a bit higher, having 6 drivers behind him. And Benites knows that he has the draft of Stati, but, there's still half a second between the two of them, and if the clock winds down and that half second stays, then, you don't want to be Benites there.
Absolutely not. You're listening to Jett Bowling, who'll be in action in FR, 4th on the grid, I believe.
Yeah, 4th. Not quite the qualifying we wanted. Just wasn't consistent. Didn't get the lap time we want, but it's not bad. It's the best qualifying I've had this season, so I'm excited, and I think the outside line is the way to go in turn 1.
But the big news is, last week, and I watched it on the live stream, you got a 4th, a 2nd, and a 3rd, so probably your best weekend in FR.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. We had a rough go of it in Road America, just the race weekend before with 2 DNFs, so it was great to bounce back and, have my best weekend yet in a race car, really. A bit of it was with some crashes in front, but, that's the way it goes sometimes. You drive your race and get a podium.
Well, the top 4, there's nothing between them in this one. 22 minutes to go, a long way to go in this, but track time is what it's all about. And in the past, we've had huge F4 fields, but we've got this new car this this season, and small fields. But I actually think for those competing, it's kind of almost better because they're going to get more seat time and more action because there's going to be less trouble, less mechanical difficulties, less crashes from those that aren't as experienced. So these guys, as you can see, getting plenty of time out on track. And over a weekend, you get a pretty decent amount of track time.
Yeah, especially these guys. I mean, they had 2 40-minute sessions yesterday, whereas, you know, in my class, we only had 2 25-minute sessions. And for me, you know, still being a pretty green driver, track time is everything you want. You want to be on track with other cars. You want to get clean laps, and that's all it's about, is to find your marks and just grow as a driver.
And is there one particular thing that you're working on? Because I mean, let's be honest, you've only been racing FR since January, so it's still all new, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just a bit about trusting the braking and that the car's going to stick. Like I said, the aero is something I've never dealt with, and a lot of us have never dealt with. So it's just, you know, finding the trust and getting the edge more and more.
Well, we've got an overtake from Quimby going to turn 1, and that's a classic Mid-Ohio move. And the Fiji Airlines sponsored car is flying. That was lovely. And Quimby making good timing there in the 24 to go to second place. Crosbie at the back of this group in 4th position. But now Quimby up to second. Nice overtake, and turn 1 is an obvious overtake. At the end of this back straight into turn 4 is another one, but it also backs up on itself, and if you hold on the outside line, take the inside line in and then take the outside line out, you might have the inside line for the end of the complex. We're coming up here through here, so this is the race line, but by the time you get to here, we come to this right-hander. If you can hold the inside line, you may be able to make a challenge, and we might see that before the end of the race. Watching on the TV, the live stream, everywhere you go. So it's pumped around the circuit. And Jett, while we get an overtake, a replay of this overtake, just see what you see going into turn 1. But this was pretty much textbook stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty textbook. It's a hard move to do for sure, no doubt. You're going to need a lot of guts to do this. In a low downforce car like this, it's pretty simple, a little bit easier, but. Yeah, I mean, that's nice from Quimby. Nice and easy just to get through there.
Yeah, he jinked out and then had to sort of make an alteration, but he stuck with it. And now you can see he's got a little bit of air between himself and the third place man. And now we'll set in pursuit of the man leading this race. I'm just looking at the times. Nicolas Stati leading this race at the moment. Did a 25.7 last time out and a 26.1 by Quimby, but that was in traffic and during the overtake. So let's see if he improves on that, and we'll see if that gap of 2 seconds can come down as we take a look at the 46 of Roberts. Connor Roberts, who's also had a good start to the season, currently in what? I'm just looking now. Let's say 4th place overall. Sorry, 2nd place overall. Why am I looking at that wrongly? 4 points behind, so an important weekend for Roberts, currently in 5th, and with Quimby chasing him down just 3 points behind him, we could see a change for the 2nd place position. So there's no question that Roberts will want to improve from that 5th place overall. And as you mentioned, Barrett, Wolfe, also with Crosslink, Crosbie with Crosslink, so you spend a lot of time with a big team. I don't know if that's an advantage or a disadvantage. You can get lost in a big team, but also there's a lot of data out there.
Yeah, no, I think it's more of an advantage than anything.
Yeah.
You know, coming in after a session, having 8 teammates to look data against, you know, I get the best every time, and it's a big family there at Crosslink, so I don't see any problems with a big team.
And are you cool? I mean, like I said, you come from different sports. Everybody tends to be a little cagey in motorsport, but when you're within your own team, it's a case of, are you in 2nd gear there, and what kind of...
Exactly.
You do talk, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you make friends with other drivers, and it happens.
Yeah. Well, Crosbie doing a good job. He's got side by side with the 44 of Benites Jr. Pablo Benites Jr. holding off. Had a good start to his season, has Pablo. Currently 4th in the championship for Scuderi Buell. There's a story behind that, which I can tell you once we see this battle seen off. But Crosbie trying every which way. Got to be patient now. That's another part of racing that you learn. I found I would never be any good as a racing driver because the adrenaline throws too much through me, and I want to do it now. You know, I want to get excitement. But you've got to staying calm is actually one of the keys to being good.
Yep, you've got to see the move done about 2 laps before you do it. It's something I've learned that's difficult to do, but you just got to let it sit within you and just wait for it to happen. Wait for him to make a mistake or just, finally send it.
Yeah, we were saying in the last race that sometimes being patient, and just as Crosbie has done, and another overtake at turn 1, and another textbook overtake, although he hasn't quite completed it yet. The 44, Benites Jr. keeping his foot in and trying to hold on. And the 16 going around the outside. Wow, this is great racing. And Crosbie, having done all the hard work, is now shuffled to the back of this one. Great stuff.
Yeah, he won't be too happy about that, but he'll get the double draft here.
Yeah. Pablo Benites Jr. from Port Orange in Florida. But look at this. Whoa, and it gets very sideways and that big off. And off goes the 46. Connor Roberts. Nasty little crash there, and has left him upended in the gravel. But again, Jett, we'll see it again in replay, but, it seems to me that, obviously it wasn't intentional. He just got a little out of shape, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, that's a corner that's hard to overtake on. Just not really inviting to a too wide move there. Obviously, you're too wide and you got to do it, but, yeah, it's just not the corner, not made for it. I definitely would have stuck with it, and it just racing incident happens.
Yep, it certainly does. And I'm sure as we go on to safety, Connor Roberts, of course, who was second in the championship, will lose on that position now to Quimby, who's currently second in the race. And there you see Stati and Quimby coming behind the Ginetta race car, keeping the tyres warm. But this is we always think of this as a bit of a dull time in a race when you're under caution. But for a racing driver, I would have thought it's all action stations at this point, because you are hurry up waiting, right? You've got to keep all systems need to be remaining where they are, i.e. brakes, tyres, the human, and you've got to be ready to go at a moment's notice.
Yeah, it's often that as a racing driver, I wear a little heart rate monitor, and my heart rate is always higher the 2 laps before we go green again under caution, just because you're using so much power to warm the tires, hit the brakes, you're warming everything up, and then, if you're Stati right now, you got a frown on your face because you just lost your 2-second gap. If you're Quimby and Crosbie, you're ear to ear under that helmet. So, yeah, it can change the race just like that. So,
Quimby, who, by the way, is from Sydney, New South Wales in Australia, Atlantic Racing Team. That's the AGR you're looking at there. And, Daniel Quimby representing them. And, of course, well, good to see. That's a good sight. Out comes Connor Roberts, and you can see that he's just very disappointed with that. And he walks away. Luckily, no harm, no foul. They'll check him over. You never like to see a car go up in the air, ever. But such is the safety with the halo, etc., which is an FIA standard. And we've got to thank the likes of Charlie Wirtz's dad, Alexander Wirtz, for developing that halo. Charlie was racing in New Zealand himself. And here's another look at it. And Jett, just tell me what you see. Watch the 44, first of all, get sideways a little bit, and that kind of caused the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. You're going on the inside. You're braking offline. There's not too much grip there. And just a bit of a racing incident. He lost it there in the middle of the corner, kind of swung into him. And, yeah, I'm just going to mark it down to a racing incident. I mean, it's tough to go too wide there. You're putting both cars at risk, and that's part of racing. You got to accept the risk, and unluckily, it didn't come out pretty. But all things said, everybody's okay.
Well, you gave us an interesting insight onto how your heartbeat works, but let's just put you into your teammate's position, Nicolas Stati, from another Australian, from Dalkeith. But this is make or break now. He's done all the hard work. He's got the lead. He built the lead up to, 1.5 seconds at one point. But now, all of that comes to naught, because now we're in a different race, and he's now in a 6-way race for that lead. And any one of those chasing him senses the opportunity. So you know that if you're leading the race, but you also know that it's yours to win or lose because you're in control of the race. So just explain how you go about a restart for those perhaps not familiar.
Yeah, so Stati's going to be thinking pretty much for the next 3 minutes about what he's going to do in this last corner to get a good exit. it's a pretty tricky last corner to have and for a good exit. So he's going to be thinking of game planning. I bet when he goes through the next time, he's going to kind of do the line he's going to think about. But if I'm Stati, I'm thinking, push everything for the first 2 laps, and then once we're there, we'll settle in and have so much, confidence in myself because I just had a 2-second gap that I can make that gap come back as fast.
Well, we've got a good history of Australians coming here. Josh Carr, one of the originators, was an F4 champion and part of Crosslink as well. Jesse Lacey also came here, and we've had many others. So they've got a good pedigree here in the United States, and it's good to see Nathan Hearn coming over from Australia and racing in Trans Am. So, yeah, it seems to be a good option to come and race here in the US of A. And we'll take a short break. We're under caution, and we'll be back in a moment to resume this race.
The Road America Speed Tour returns to Road America June 28th through the 30th, featuring the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series, International GT, PSSA, FRP, and Optima Search for the Ultimate Street Car. Saturday, you can take part in the Haggerty Cars and Caffeine Car Show with Parade Lab. You do not want to miss the Road America Speed Tour. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship, so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio. Jett Bowling and Jonathan Green bringing you the action from our first of 3 F4 races. We're under caution after what was a big crash for second in the championship, Connor Roberts. Got spun out by the 44. Once spun out, the car hit the gravel. It was Pablo Benites Jr. who took the inside line, the man from Florida, and it ended in tears for Connor. Who is, of course, second in the championship, just 4 points behind the leader, who currently leads this race. Quimby, currently third in the championship on 49 points, so just a couple of points behind Connor Roberts. So that's going to change the face of the championship, and you don't get too many bites of point-scoring opportunities in these championships. So one time you're out, you really kind of, you're kind of licking your wounds. You know the feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's a feeling where you just think, please let me go back 5 seconds. I won't make that move. I won't get on throttle too early. It's gut-wrenching, especially for Roberts, who's fighting for a championship right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Yep, no kidding. So what goals have you set your first season in F4 in America?
Yeah, me and Ryan, my coach, we sat down and we said, I think top 3 is a good goal. We did pretty good in New Zealand. We outperformed what we thought we would, and so we set a lofty goal for this season, and I think it's going well right now. Road America with 2 DNFs was obviously a step back, but I'm getting more and more confident, and I think it's 100% doable.
Well, the lights are off on the safety car, or we're expecting them to be off soon. They aren't at the moment, but we're expecting them once they get out of Thunderhill and down towards the carousel again. We'll see them go off. Yeah, Jett Bowling was given most improved driver in the FR Series in New Zealand, the Toyota Racing Series. A big eye-opening series over 6 weeks in the effective summer of New Zealand and winter of here in the States. And I've been involved for many years, and I do think it's a great opportunity. We do have a Yak Academy here for F4 in Florida as well. That's been successful for many of the drivers here involved in this championship. I was talking to Caleb Bacon about it. Not Caleb Bacon, Bacon Zelenka. There's too many Bacons out there. I can smell it. But, I was talking to Zelenka about it, and, great place to get honed in when other people aren't racing. Here we go again, then. That restart we were talking about. Stati's timed it well. But, a car spins round heavily and does catch the car behind. So out goes Wolfe. And Benites Jr. was not, no, it wasn't. It was Day, wasn't it? 54. Lincoln Day. So we're now down to 4. So drama indeed, because that happened right in front of the pit wall and right in front of us. In fact, I should have looked out the window, and I can see them now. just in front of our commentary position. But more drama, Jett.
Yeah, that would have been just, it looked like Day just probably sent on throttle a little too early and touched the grass a bit. One side of the car was caught and one side wasn't, went around, and Wolfe was just there to, nothing to do.
Be interested to see if we get another caution, because here we go into 4 side-by-side action, and Stati holding him off for now. But it's not going to take long for Quimby to make another effort, I'm sure. But the question is, where, Jett? If you were in second place in Daniel Quimby's position now, would you try and force the move now with 6 minutes to go?
Yeah, if I'm not sure if they see the crash in turn 1, but if I saw that as a driver, I'm trying to get in the front as quick as possible because I know yellow flag's coming. And with this little time on the clock, you never know if that's it.
Yeah, and the longer you leave it, the more the chance is that 3rd and 4th, and there is only 4 cars left in this one, will all see their opportunity as they come towards the carousel again to take a podium. And every podium counts. 25 points for a win. They cross the line again. Crosbie. And it looks as though we're going to get a yellow checker, so that is going to close it down, and that's going to finish it there. That's Stati, Quimby, and Crosbie. No surprise with those 2 cars stuck out on the main straight there that they couldn't really do anything but call it just a yellow checker. So that's how we're going to finish it. But Jett, your teammate, Stati, he is flying. He's leading the championship and now extends that lead.
Yeah, props to him. That's a good race. Obviously a bit messy with the late yellow and then that extra late yellow. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's a great win for him. I know Quimby's upset that he didn't get that move done because if he gets that move done, he only needs 2 corners and he secures the win.
So another win. That's his 2nd on the season and his 4th podium for Nicolas Stati of Crosslink Motorsport. And so well done to the man from Dalkeith in Australia. Western Australia he hails from. So he's a country boy. And he is making a name for himself here in the good old USA. Great to have Australians taking on the Americans. And I think you learnt this from New Zealand. I think you can only pit yourself against, the people you're against, that you're in your own championship with. But it's great when there are international guys because it gives you an idea, as it was in this championship and in New Zealand, where you stand, right?
Yeah, for me it was a whole lot of fun. The competition in New Zealand's pretty intense. There's Christian Mansell who actually put it on pole for F3 today in Barcelona.
Cool.
So, it's nice to see all these people you're racing against do good because, as much as I hate to admit it, you're like, oh, he beat me, but if he can beat them, then I'm that far. So it's fun to see, it's fun to have an international series, and it's always fun to race people from different countries.
Well, we are coming into the pit lane and finishing under caution here in this one with 2 cars stuck right at the start finish straight, but we can give you the classification. Nicolas Stati of Australia wins for the New Zealand team of Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport. Another win, his 2nd on the season. Daniel Quimby takes 2nd place for Atlantic Racing Team. Alex Crosbie, a Kiwi for Kiwi Racing, takes a 3rd place, and that's a good result for him. Benites Jr. takes 4th after being in the wars. Barrett Wolfe involved in that incident. He is, in the end, classified as 5th. Len Lincoln Day and Connor Roberts, who was the man who got tipped over and into the gravel in the 46, ends up 7th. My thanks to Jett Bowling. You'll be in action from 4th place on the grid in in FR later in the day. So we'll look out for that. But let's take a look at the highlights. I've got last comment from you in a minute, but let's take a look at the highlights first and foremost from our first F4 of 3. So round 4 getting underway and a good start by the leaders. It was side-by-side stuff. Then a slight problem for Quimby as he lost out the lead, but it was anybody's game in the opening lap. Stati finally got in the lead. And Quimby doing some nice moves. How about this? 3 wide into the keyhole. Crosbie having to get bulked on the inside there. This was the big incident. And Benites Jr. just causing the incident, and the 46 of Connor Roberts going over and out. And Lincoln Day also causing another incident. Lincoln Day and Barrett Wolfe involved with that restart incident. Jett, what are your hopes? A podium today?
Obviously, P1.
P1, I like it. Good attitude. But just 19 from Dallas, Texas?
Yep.
How do we find you on social?
Instagram at Jett Bowling Racing. Facebook is the same.
All right. Well, good luck later this afternoon. And we'll be watching that FR race, which gets underway. I'm trying to think of the time, but I'll give you exactly it gets underway at 6:15 local time, so look out for that. It should be an interesting time. My thanks to Jett Bowling. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more action from the Speed Tour here at Mid-Ohio after this. Cool.
Keeping your pride and joy perfect is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Start with Slick Mist Speed Wax. Simply mist on and wipe off for a professional detailer shine. For your tires and trim, there's Lucas Slick Mist Tire and Trim Shine. Spray on and wipe off for better than new look. Then finish her with Lucas Slick Mist Interior Detailer. Just spray and wipe. Easy. Use Lucas Slick Mist Car Care products and she'll never look better. Fast, easy, and professional. Really, it's sort of like having an extra set of hands. Or 3.